Today's episode is slightly different because we're going to be having a really honest conversation about what this has been like for us over the last 6 or 7 months doing this podcast, some of our thoughts and reflections on the topics we've covered and what's come up for us as friends doing this together, which, it's brought up some things. So we want to be quite honest about that and what that's been like. So where should we start, Ros? Because this has been quite a ride, hasn't it?
It has been quite a ride. And I think if you think of when we started, so it was back in March?
March, yeah.
And, we also had our experience of being on Shut Up, I'm Talking.
Mm-hmm.
So we were kind of really thrown, weren't we, into the world of podcasting when we didn't have any idea really what that would be like.
That's true, yeah. Whereas we thought we were just going to sort of ease in there with nobody watching, and then suddenly we're on this podcast. And
with 160,000
what did we get from that? We had, I think it's up to 160,000 views now, but also we suddenly had an influx of followers.
We did. And not just that, there was also more that came from it, wasn't it? Because we realised that actually... I think the thing that I found particularly around that, I don't know about you, but how inspiring I felt that generation, because it's a sort of younger generation, isn't it, that tend to follow Tom and Jack, how insightful they were and how aware they were of mental health.
That really stood out, didn't it?
Yeah, it really did. And then we did a sort of kind of agony aunt type thing, didn't we, with them on their Patreon. And so I just think I was really impressed with, how insightful and aware youngsters are. But for us, I think that was such a big step to be in that world and that platform. And then, like you say, we were just going to kind of release ours, weren't we, quietly.
2 people might follow us.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah. So it's been a really, if you think of then and if you think of where we are now, with how many episodes is it?
I don't know, actually.
We did 23, was it, for the first
We're in the
season?
30s now.
Yeah. And that's like weekly episodes. So even though I know we record, maybe a few at a time and in advance, but I think that's impressive.
It's, like you said, though, I think that initial kind of being thrown in at the deep end, it was great in some ways, but also pushed us in a certain direction that maybe we weren't that comfortable with.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that we discovered that, didn't we, a little bit later on in a way where it was sort of exciting and it was feeling like, yes, we're getting the subscribers are coming along and then realising actually, 2 women in their 50s actually maybe isn't.
It was when my daughter said, I hope she doesn't mind me saying this, I'll have to check with her. She said, oh, Mum, I don't think I'd watch you two just because of your age.
Yeah.
And I thought, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Although some people have said that they quite like that kind of maternal figure.
Yeah.
So she's got that day in, day out.
Well, exactly. I was going to say maybe different because it's your daughter.
Yeah.
And I think there's a truth in that too.
Yeah.
And I think for us, the other way around as well, that, it's lovely for any age group to listen to our podcast, isn't it? Or watch YouTube. But actually for us, the subject material, what we wanted to cover, we wanted to be much broader, didn't we, in terms of age groups?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Shall we perhaps talk about some of the topics that we've covered and some of the thoughts we've had on them? Because we've had quite a few guests and they've been brilliant. And I know from the conversations we've had, it's kind of sparked some ideas and reflections on particular ones. I know you're looking at me as if you're saying, I can't remember.
You know me so well.
You have that face of saying, I do. Please tell me because I can't remember.
Which guests? Which episodes? What subjects? Yeah, no, my memory's not fab.
Neither is mine.
Well, I think you have a slightly better memory than I do. I think the lack of HRT in my life doesn't help. But yes, what stands out for you? What are you thinking of when you're sort of reflecting back? So perhaps looking at maybe some of the guest episodes.
Some of the recent guest ones, yeah. So we had Kaz on. She was fantastic, wasn't she?
Wasn't she?
She's got such a brilliant energy.
She has. I mean, she's meant for TV and screen and engaging with people, isn't she? She's just a natural.
Yeah. But when she was talking, because she was talking about being single, and it was the process of how she'd got to being comfortable being single, it sounded like, and if Kaz is listening, I hope she doesn't think this is a negative, because it's not, but it sounded like there was an aspect of it, and I think she said it, where she felt like when she was in a relationship, she was sacrificing herself.
Yes.
So she was losing herself in the relationship to adapt to the other person.
Yeah, I remember that now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what stuck out for you with that part, as it were? Is it something that you think, because I guess we can all do that. We can all adapt in relationships.
I know, I've done it.
Yeah. Well, I think we all adapt up to a point, don't we? Because there's something about living with somebody else and sharing a life with somebody else. You have to. But I guess it's at what degree? And I think that's perhaps what Kaz was saying, wasn't it? That she would end up, thinking that she had to be in that particular role.
Yeah.
And that she then realised, being on her own, how different it was. That she didn't have to be anything other than her. She didn't have to make those, being adapting in that way.
Yeah, I suppose I was thinking that maybe at the time, because of what we do couples therapy, and I was thinking, well, maybe at the time, if she'd looked at that, if she'd had some support and help around that, or they'd had some support and help around that, that might have been different. She might have been able to see, actually, I don't need to.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Adapt so much.
Yeah.
For this person.
So finding more of herself within a relationship, if that's what she had wanted. Yeah. And I think for her, if I remember, one of the things that was the changing point to highlight that was her cancer diagnosis, wasn't it? And the fact that she felt it was so traumatic.
See, your memory is okay.
I know, well, you're jogging it. Is that it was so traumatic that she didn't want to have to engage with however the other person might respond to that, whatever that response was.
Yeah. So again, that's a space where actually maybe that she could have...
Yes, she could have found a way that she perhaps could have done,
She was able to get that support.
And I think that happens, don't you find sometimes, it depends with couples, doesn't it? Because sometimes when couples come to me and they're kind of at breaking point, and it's been going on for years and years, and their kind of negative cycle. I remember us talking about an episode around the negative cycle, when that's been in play for so long. And I sometimes think, gosh, if only you had come, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And then we could have perhaps looked at this dynamic in a different way. And even though I think that can still be looked at, and I think people can find their way back together.
Yeah.
What I think also can happen is people just have gone, no, it's too much now. It's too far. It's too much.
They can't
too
see
little,
beneath
too,
the negative
too late or
stuff.
whatever. Yeah. And so unfortunately, sometimes that means people go their separate ways.
We've said this, haven't we, to each other? We would love for more couples to come to therapy before they reach that crisis point.
God, it would be great.
Yeah. Because you can do so much more at that time, can't you?
You can. And that's, like you say, it can be a bit frustrating, can't it? Because we can see it. And in the way that you're talking about Kaz, it's the same sort of thing, I guess, isn't it? Had she perhaps thought about maybe she did, I don't know.
Couples coming sooner. I've often heard people say, well, surely if I'm going to couples therapy, that means my relationship's bad.
Yeah.
Or I shouldn't be having to go to couples therapy a year into my relationship.
Yeah.
Which I think is totally untrue, right?
Yeah.
That's the ideal time to look at it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the sooner, in a way, the better. I mean, it's difficult, isn't it? Because we know that in that first part of any relationship, there's usually all the sort of chemicals and hormones that are going around the body that we often don't necessarily see the kind of blind spots, do we, I guess?
Yeah.
But once we're in a position where I think maybe they start to arise, perhaps that's when there's more of an opportunity for people to say, hang on, let's go and see what this dynamic is, because it's becoming more exposed. I don't know whether people would do it before then. I don't think they do it then anyway.
Well, they wouldn't do it in the honeymoon chemical phase.
Yeah.
Right.
What do you think?
Depends how long, because there are some, what I've heard is that can go on for 2 years.
It's quite a long time, isn't it?
Yeah. But I have had couples come to me before that 2 years.
And would that have been to look at what's going on between them in terms of a dynamic, or will it be because they want to strengthen and deepen their relationship?
Well, usually because there's something going wrong, isn't it?
Well, yeah. And so I don't know. I wonder whether it's just that's just come sooner for that couple. It's difficult to know, isn't it? Because
so you'd like people to come almost before anything goes wrong, to just like, what's this dynamic like?
I don't know. I mean, I think it would be nice in some ways, because it's like, how can we explore to get deeper and closer? And I wonder if people will really feel like there's a need until something feels like it's going wrong. But what I think might happen is that when things start going sort of slightly wrong, as it were, whatever wrong means, but maybe a bit more conflict or a bit more distance or whatever that's happening, that it's that people perhaps don't come quickly enough then. This is what I think we are saying, isn't it? Is that if they came then, because if they're coming before, it might specifically be around how can we, I don't know, perhaps talk about if we're going to have kids, or if, what's going to be like if we get married, sort of talking about. So
you're saying something needs to come up.
I'm wondering if it does.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. That there needs to be at least something around that negative cycle.
Because are they going to be activated? Are they going to know in a way what is happening for them in their dynamic if that isn't happening? I don't know.
So now I'm thinking about the episode with Jason.
Oh right, yes.
Whip.
Yeah
And what he was saying about how he uses humour, and that can get in the way of his relationship with his wife. So that's a kind of, because I think he said in it that she gets annoyed sometimes because I don't take things seriously.
And he was going to reflect on that, wasn't he, I think, or something around that, wasn't he, when we were chatting with him about what his wife might need from him that's perhaps different from that, or how can he kind of go in a bit closer without humour, and what that would be like.
I'd love to get them in here and do a session. Wouldn't that be good?
That would be great, wouldn't it, to have an episode? I'd love to do that. We've said that before, haven't we, to do an episode with a couple and their experiences, because it's we love our couple work, don't we? It's great. And having it on the podcast, having a couple come on here would be brilliant.
To do therapy or just to chat?
I think just to chat.
I'd love to do therapy, but I'm not sure how ethical that would be.
I mean, there's couples therapy on telly, isn't there? With that series with
is it Orna?
Yeah, that's right. And I think people have loved it, but there's been kind of debate, I suppose, on is how true is that therapy when they know that they're being filmed publicly. And X amount of millions of people are going to watch it. And I think that's a distinction for us with this podcast, isn't it? We know that this isn't a replacement for therapy. But we also know that there's not a replacement for therapy. But, we know we're sort of hopefully offering something that's interesting or useful. So going back to your question, if we had a couple here, I think that we would find it difficult not to bring in some therapy language because we're so used to it. But we wouldn't be doing therapy, but it would be interesting to hear a couple's experience of maybe therapy if they've had therapy themselves, or that they've gone through difficult times and how they've come through that, what they've found as useful.
That humour thing, going back to what Jason said, That's quite common, isn't it? Do you find that with couples that sometimes humour can be something that one of them uses as a way of kind of making things feel better or more manageable or happier or
which kind
less
of makes
distressing.
sense though, doesn't it? It's like, I can understand that if something feels tense, let's maybe lighten it up.
Yeah.
It's a really good way, isn't it, of getting away from discomfort.
Mm.
As are other things, aren't there? I mean, there's a lot of things that people use. I mean, I think, we've talked about this, haven't we, with the intellectualizing.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about that in our attachment episodes, I think, didn't we? The strategies that people... Oh, good, you've got that blank look. You're doing a me. We talked about the strategies that sometimes people can use to kind of protect themselves.
To stay away from the difficult feelings.
Yeah.
Mm. Intellectualizing, humour. What else? Drink.
Yeah. Phone use.
Phone. Walk away. Shut down.
Yeah. Sometimes get angry.
Attack. Yeah.
Yeah. Can be all sorts of things, can't it?
Mm.
But it's really interesting, isn't it? So that we can see, like you say with Jason and his humour, all these strategies that we can use, but remembering that what is the function of those strategies? Why are they coming in?
Mm.
What are they protecting? And I think what's so nice about that, in that way, and how we work, is how important it is not to judge people.
Yeah. There's a reason that's being done.
There's a reason. And that can be so comforting, I think.
Yeah. I mean, even when we were talking with Tom and Jack, Tom was saying about humour, wasn't he?
Yes.
That's something he learned to use as a way of being accepted and liked.
Yeah.
And it works.
Indeed. And people then, in some ways, want that from you, don't they? And I guess then it's hard to kind of see the other sides as well, isn't it? Because you get caught up in the way that people are expecting you to be. Yeah.
But he's done a great job of bringing that in as well. I think that's what makes their podcast probably so popular and enjoyable, because there is that depth to it as well.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And they're very honest about what's going on for them, again, aren't they? Like you say, bringing that other part in. Tom talking about his depression and the things that Jack has gone through with his ADHD diagnosis and whatever. They're very honest, aren't they, about that side, like you say, to balance it up perhaps with the humour and the other ways that they protect themselves.
And that's what well, we've seen the comments and people love it, don't they, when they're really honest as well.
Yeah. I think it's because people, and that's what we really hope for with, what we've done and what we're doing, is that it's really touching something for people, isn't it, that they can relate to. And I think that's so important with us, that how we want to be so human with this podcast, and how we've had, of course, our challenges kind of going through this. Don't know whether that's something we want to talk about now, or perhaps let's talk a bit more about.
Yeah, let's talk about that maybe a little bit more at the end. Yeah.
That's keeping you in.
Stay to the end and you'll get the juicy bits.
A little hook.
Yeah. So Rose,
lovely Rose.
She's amazing.
She is. For those who haven't watched it yet, Rose is neurodivergent, which is the term she prefers to use rather than autistic. And we had a lovely chat with Rose. She's just so lovely, isn't she? She's so aware, and I loved her sort of enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Because she contacted us, didn't she? She really wanted to share her story, and I found that really touching. Yeah.
Very inspiring.
Yeah.
And I think inspiring for, hopefully, for lots of people that have had a diagnosis or are going through a diagnosis and maybe struggling with that story is incredibly inspiring and
absolutely.
hopeful.
And the fact that she gave that story from the beginning, and how there were missed opportunities really to diagnose her, weren't there? And yet her mum kind of felt something was going on, and it took time and time before that happened. But also how through all those struggles, how aware she is. Again, it's that awareness, isn't it? And how she's meeting her needs in the way that she needs to now.
Yeah.
Making sure she's got her counsellor, making sure she's got the things in place. You know, she's got her house.
Got her own space.
Yeah, got her own space.
Make sure she gets that time out. No.
Yeah. And so young. She's only 23 or something. And I just think that's amazing. She was truly inspiring.
Thinking on that sort of theme of neurodivergence, because there's so much of this at the moment, isn't there?
There really is.
And I guess I think about it a lot because of the clients I work with, but also just generally with people I know, that some people want that diagnosis, don't they? And some people, so there's almost a spectrum. Some people really want it and think, I really, really need this. I really need this diagnosis and someone to tell me and confirm it. And other people are, don't want to know. What difference does it make? Don't, nothing to do with me. And then there's something in between as well. I want to know, but I don't necessarily need that medical confirmation in a letter or anything, but I want to know, is this a thing?
And what do you think is, what do you think is there a pattern, do you think, in those types of people, as it were? Is there something around the people who do and the people who don't? Or do you think it's just so purely individual?
That's a good question. I don't know. Yeah. Have you noticed it? Is there anything you've picked up on?
I don't know the answer to it either, actually, but it makes me wonder that if we were looking at it, whether there was something that was a common denominator with those who do and those who don't, whether that's in context of their environments, whether it's age, whether it's gender. It would just be interesting, I suppose, to see whether there's some kind of pattern, a bit of a research project there maybe. But
you're making me think about that negative core beliefs that might be driving that difference.
Yeah.
So that idea that our our core beliefs about ourselves are formed, aren't they, quite early on and through our experiences.
That's a really good point.
And whether there is something about a specific I'm not good enough core belief might mean that someone isn't wanting to have that.
I think that's a really good point. And that would be really interesting to see, wouldn't it, if that matches with all those who don't want to get it. Yeah. And then I wonder then for those who do, whether they would have more of a sense of themselves, if you like, don't have that same core belief or feel good enough, if you like, or believe they're good enough. Yeah, interesting one. That's an interesting thought.
I think I read somewhere that people that are neurodivergent have better outcomes if they've had a lot of support around them early on in life, around their difficulties.
That makes sense too, doesn't it? Because that would also correlate with trauma, wouldn't it? Yeah. If people experience trauma, if they've had a lot of good support in their lives, then they're going to manage that experience of trauma perhaps more smoothly. I don't know whether that's the right word, than if they hadn't.
Because the common kinds of trauma for someone neurodivergent are those peers, school experiences, bullying. Yeah. And if you don't have anyone around you,
that's really tough, isn't it?
That's horrible. Yeah.
Well, it's a layer upon a layer
anyway. Yeah.
Yeah, of toughness, isn't it? Yeah. Exactly. So that's an interesting thought. It could link, couldn't it, into somebody's core belief. Or like you said, the negative core belief. Yeah. That would be a really interesting thing to notice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
If there is that pattern.
Somebody's probably done a thesis on this.
They probably have. We have to ask
Google
AI.
Scholar.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, Google Scholar.
No, AI is probably going to be the one now, isn't it?
Yeah. But it was really good also to have Graham on again. And Graham, again, for those of you who haven't necessarily watched previous episodes, Graham is a psychiatrist from Flint Health, which is in Sussex. And he's been great supporter of the podcast, coming on, first of all, to talk about ADHD, and then subsequently autism. And Graham's lovely, isn't he? And
he's so down to earth.
He's so down to earth.
Not like you'd imagine a psychiatrist.
I think that's so funny because I have that as well. And we shouldn't really have that idea. But
what's your image of a psychiatrist?
Being quite cold and intellectual and saying really big words that I wouldn't necessarily understand. It's like somewhere sort of somebody up there who's much more distant from me and thinking that, a more fearful, I suppose, image of somebody.
Yeah.
But no, Graham's not like that at all. He's really lovely.
He's really
busted that myth for me. I mean, I've seen other psychiatrists, and they're lovely too. But it's just interesting that word, I think, even can, for me, conjure up even a picture of something different to Graham.
I guess I sort of have this idea of someone with power.
Okay. Yeah, I suppose that's what I'm saying, isn't it? With
They're
somebody
up
up
there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that might be coming from my own stuff as a child as well.
Yeah.
That I've still got that image of this person.
From your own experiences.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? Although I haven't had those experiences and I probably feel the same. It's interesting though, isn't it? But you will have had that direct experience. Mm-hmm. And as a younger person, as
someone
child,
who didn't have any power.
Really, a young girl, yeah.
Yeah, and the films and TV shows portray psychiatrists a certain way, I think, as well. Anyway, he's not like that, everybody.
Graham's
so go and
lovely.
listen to Graham's episodes because they're brilliant.
Yeah, they really are brilliant and so easy to understand.
He's going to come on and talk about psychedelic assisted therapy, which will be really interesting.
Yeah,
I think.
Absolutely. So yes, definitely go back and look at the Graham episodes. Really worth watching or listening to. Yeah.
What about Will Adolphi and his talk about his experience of the manosphere?
Yeah. I mean, when Adolescence was on, that telly programme, it was a real big, it had a really big impact, didn't it, on us, but there sort of felt like a wave going through of people really talking about it. Yeah. And therefore, what Will was talking about felt so relevant to what goes on, and also I think for me, in really opening my eyes to something perhaps I didn't necessarily have a full understanding of. Yeah, I don't know about you.
Adolescence, absolutely.
Well, and Will with his what he was talking about, his experiences. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have a full understanding of what I don't know I didn't even know what the manosphere was until I think I saw him or that word put to it. But a full understanding of how easily sucked in that space can be on the internet and how that's happening for boys.
Yeah.
And I can, from what Will said, I can see why.
Yes, it made sense, didn't it? Yeah.
Because they're desperately wanting to feel good about themselves.
Yeah.
And someone's telling you, you'll feel good about yourself. Look, you do these things and think these ways. This is the way to go.
And that real notion that he said of, somebody sort of in your ear, it's like that drip fed, isn't it? It's like constantly drip fed, and therefore it seems okay, and then you're drawn in and drawn in and drawn in. It's like a real slow but sucking in experience. Yeah,
he did well to get out of that,
didn't he? Yeah, no, that was a really interesting episode too. Who else have we had on?
Just to be clear, they're all really interesting.
They are
episodes.
all really interesting. And that's why I suppose we wanted to reflect on them, isn't there? I mean, I also really loved the episode with Robin.
Oh yeah. So courageous of her to come on.
Really courageous.
And that's been a popular episode.
Yeah, so that's again the one. It's quite early-ish on. I can't remember what month it was, but Robin came in and talked to us, didn't she, about being trans and that experience. It was in June, Pride Month. Was that June? My month, I think it is.
Yes,
anyway,
it was.
Pride Month.
Pride Month.
Yeah.
June. It was
that's
June.
when Robin was on.
First week in June, I think.
Yeah. But I found her description of, and her, talking about her life and experiences, I found really moving.
What do you think was moving for you? Is there anything in particular?
I think, in a way, I think she represents so many people, not just within the trans community, of course, but how people go through such adversity and are having to sometimes live such a lie or not being themselves or not feeling safe or allowed to be themselves. And how Robin had found her way through to where she is now.
Okay, yeah.
And I think that's,
and it's an ongoing.
And it's
journey.
ongoing. So I think anybody who's gone through experiences where they have felt so marginalised or excluded or whatever, I think seeing how people then come through that with all those injuries kind of that they might be experiencing along the way, I do find that inspiring. But the way that Robin brought in how she was so honest emotionally with that experience, and I think that's then where I get touched because I can hear the things that she went through. Yeah, I can relate,
that to what you're saying in that it touches something probably in everyone as well, that you feel like you've got something to hide, some shame or something about yourself.
Yeah, that's a really good way to bring in, isn't it? That notion, that experience of shame. And I think so many people can go there on all sorts of different levels, and they say, don't they, that the sort of antidote to shame is self-compassion, and of which we kind of did another episode, didn't we? We've covered loads.
We have.
But that, how hard it is for people to sometimes be able to do that and find that and stay stuck in that place of feeling they're bad or wrong or ashamed in some way.
And how hard it is to risk showing that part of you to other people, the world, coming on a podcast.
Yes.
Huge. And on YouTube, not just on a podcast.
Indeed.
Visually.
And that brings in that whole notion of courage and vulnerability, doesn't it? I know, that's something that Brené Brown talks about, doesn't she? But I think for all of us, recognising more and more that people who put themselves out there when they've experienced all sorts of different difficult things, putting their head above the parapet, and how courageous that is, but it's so vulnerable too because of that mix. Yeah,
very exposing.
Yeah.
And scary.
Very.
Is this a good time maybe to talk about how we were quite vulnerable having a conversation?
No, we're not going to talk about it at all. You see, we just teased you. No, but look, I used humour. I think it would be a opportune moment. Yeah. We had a chat, didn't we? Was it at the weekend about our experience of being on the podcast and what had come up between us as friends. Because we'd both noticed things that didn't seem right, didn't seem like our normal selves. Would you agree? I would agree.
Yeah. So, it was about having this, practicing what we preach and talking about what the dynamic was between us, what was coming up.
Yeah, and in a way, our sort of negative cycle.
Yeah.
It was, I'd like to say, linking into what we were just saying about vulnerability and courage, And for me, I had, such admiration for you bringing it up, because I think it was a really courageous thing to do.
Oh, thank you.
And I think that's really important for people to know, that when we do talk about things that are difficult, we can go to different places, either shutting down and not talking about it because it feels like it's just going to be too painful. And I think I might have done an element of that, because I was thinking maybe that the dynamic between us, that it was me, it was my stuff, and I just needed to kind of figure it out. So I was kind of perhaps doing that privately, when actually what would have been far more helpful for us is if I had said. But because I was kind of thinking that that's what I was doing, like I was just figuring it out and sort of realising it was my own insecurities and not maybe feeling good enough, thinking that you might know more than me, which I think, I've perhaps one of the things we talked about, wasn't it, sort of me putting you kind of on a pedestal a little bit, and how the position of being the one looking up at you is not comfortable, but also you being on that pedestal brings all sorts of things with it, which perhaps, you can say what that was like for you. But I think that withdrawal, in a way, of sorts, of not saying it, the thing is it's still there when something activates it. And for me, it wasn't kind of like I was very conscious of it. I was just thinking, I've just got to work through this stuff. Yeah. But then we had a sort of significant text interaction for me that then activated what kind of, I suppose, was the dominoes of before that I was looking at individually, but it kind of spiraled into taking me right back to all the sort of events that I'd been trying to figure out before on my own.
Yeah. And that's what can happen in couples, isn't it?
It's what can happen in couples.
Okay, I'll deal with this on my own. It's fine. It's my shit. Yeah. I'm going to deal with it. And then something happens and it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. It's now big.
Yeah. And I think what we noticed when we talked about sort of reflecting back on moments perhaps that we'd felt something going on between us, where that, not just that dynamic was going on, but also within that dynamic, all the stories we're telling ourselves, all the assumptions we're making, all the sort of feeding into our core beliefs. Yeah. Certainly I can't speak for you, but for me, I was feeding into that not good enough stuff.
In all of that, we do create our own stories about what's happening, about the other person, about ourselves, what we might be doing right or wrong, and we don't know because we're not having that conversation.
Exactly.
But what I picked up on, what I felt was, I felt like you weren't being yourself. I felt like, oh, where's Ros? And then I would then, with that feeling, I would kind of couldn't relax. I mean, I think that takes me back to some of my own stuff from being a kid, about people being real. And I think that was the bit for me where I was then not able to be myself either. And then that's coming up then between us, isn't it? If I'm not myself and then you're not feeling like you can be yourself and you've got me on this pedestal, we're not relaxing. We're not
relaxing. And you can see how each one feeds the other. Yeah. So, you sort of maybe then, I suppose I heard things in such a way that felt like you weren't happy with me. Yeah. And therefore feeling not good enough, which it fed into. And then me, I think, feeling more anxious unconsciously or consciously. Again, lack of hormone replacement therapy underneath that too. That actually that came up, and then I would be trying too hard, and so therefore not necessarily feeling relaxed and feeling myself. You then not feeling like I was being myself. Sort of kind of getting into that spiral. Yeah.
Whereas today, having had that conversation, I don't know about you. Yeah. It just feels different.
Well, I think we felt it differently immediately afterwards. Well, during, I would say, not just even afterwards. For me, as I say, I think the courage you had to bring it up felt really important, because one of the things that was key for me, and I think for you, I don't want to speak for you, but that my fear was losing the friendship.
Yeah.
That, you know, we're doing this podcast, and to me, I'd rather not do the podcast in order to keep the friendship, because our friendship, our sisterhood is so important to me.
Yeah.
And I think that's the threat.
It's not really that important to me. Just to be clear, I would put the podcast first.
Expletive. But that, yeah, ultimately, that's what was the thing that I think was also driving in the dynamic. It's like, shit, you know, this is like something's happening between us, and I'm losing you. And I think if you think of all the couples we work with, and in all the relationships where there's a feeling of threat, you're losing the connection. So then all our strategies of how we try and get it back.
It's okay, it's my shit, I'll work on it.
I'm not going to talk about it. That they all come back in. Mm-hmm. It's fascinating, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
But, you know, like you say, the conversation we had brought us back together again. And in a way, hopefully going forward with the podcast and however we do that, and whatever that's going to be like going forward, and all the different things we do will come from this different foundation.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm so pleased I somehow found the courage to bring it up, and for us to have that conversation, and that you were able to receive it, and we could have that.
Yeah, it was great. And like you say, it's walking the talk, isn't it? Is that the expression? Yeah, sometimes I get things around talking the walk, walking the talk, practicing what we preach. Yeah. And it feels, it's sort of an embodiment, isn't it, of our values, really, of our work, of everything we do. I mean, I'm not necessarily that we might have different values with that, but I think for us, working together, I think that's perhaps the value that we have.
And that,
to walk that talk.
How do you feel now about me being am I still on the pedestal? Have you managed to bring yourself up or pull me down? Or?
But you know, with can I say something crude?
Go on then.
With pedestals, I remember somebody, it was a tutor of mine actually years and years ago, said, the trouble with putting people on a pedestal, all you can see is up their arse.
You don't want to see that.
You can, maybe Paul might cut that. but yeah,
it's true.
But it's true. It's not fair on either person, is it? It's just not.
You don't
equal.
Want to see up my arse.
No, and you don't want to be looking down on me not being myself. You know, so it's like it goes both ways, doesn't it? And I think it feels so different. I'm not going to say though that there are not going to be times where I still feel. Of course, my raw spot, as it were, is my sensitivity is going to be rubbed. Yeah. But I think we've got this platform more now where we know when we feel that thing inside that we're ignoring and thinking I need to deal with it myself, that hopefully we can bring that forward and share it. Yeah. And as soon to the moment as it happens. Yeah. And this is what we say, don't we, in our couples, is that when something happens, our negative cycles are always going to happen. Yeah. But it's how we can kind of catch it more quickly, have more understanding about it. Yeah. But also repair. Mm-hmm. That repair is so important, isn't it? And I think what we've talked about our conversation and the courage you have bringing that up and us being able to work through that's the repair. Mm. Mm. And you feel closer. A stronger relationship going forward. Yeah, for sure. Mm. And we are going to be putting a pause on the podcast just for now. To regroup. Yeah, regroup, recharge. Work out the kind of next steps forward of what maybe people want. What's the best way to do that? So perhaps, anybody who wants to write in and say maybe what you liked the best, what you didn't like so much, what you'd like more of, less of. That would be really helpful perhaps for our next season or our next series. Definitely. One area I'm aware that we haven't touched on, which we really should have maybe, or we definitely should do, is around sex, because that is a part of relationships, a big part of relationships, and we haven't done any episodes on that topic. That's a really good point. Into sexual intimacy, physical intimacy, closeness. Yeah, so that's definitely one we can keep in mind as maybe starting off the next series maybe with sex.
Yeah, that'll keep you interested, won't it, guys?
But yeah, don't you think it would be lovely if people could maybe say what they would like more of and less of, and maybe that's something that people would really like to hear about,
and maybe even what kind of works, because we've done different things. We've had guest episodes, we've had topics, we've had experts, we've had dear therapists, and we've had now this much more relaxed kind of chat.
Yeah.
And maybe it would be good to hear from people about what they like more or less.
And perhaps the style as well. So, for instance, we could bring in more of this, couldn't we? But with the subjects that we talk about, or with our guests maybe doing it slightly differently somehow. I don't know quite yet.
Yeah.
But I think it's been, I think with just what you've said though, Ali, if you think about the list you just gave of the things that we've done, and this is March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, it's like 8 months.
Yeah. It is 8 months.
Pretty impressive, isn't it?
Yeah. Weekly.
We've
done well.
Yeah.
And thanks to Paul as well. With his
thanks
amazing
to Paul and Synergy Studios. Yeah. And also maybe any segments people like.
We
the
tried
Would You
those.
Rathers or the top takeaway tips.
We did have Would You Rathers, but we've lost them.
Yes.
They've disappeared somewhere into the
We're blaming Paul.
ether.
So, yes, do still subscribe, follow, like. Is there anything else we need to say before we wrap up?
Share this podcast with your friends and family, and spread the word.
Yeah.
Because although we're going to be taking a break, we are still going to be there.
Yeah. And you can go back visiting the episodes that we've done, and hopefully you'll be able to get something from those.
Yeah.
But thank you for being with us
Thank
for
you.
the last 2 seasons and series, or whatever, wherever you are and what you call it. And we look forward to you joining us on the next one.
Yeah. See you then.